And now I would like to welcome to the stage our very own Abdulsalam Haykal, Chairman of Haykal Media, who will be having a conversation with Her Excellency Noura Kaabi and Alberto Levy. Please join me in welcoming.
And Alberto, please. Can you sit in the middle? And Alberto here, please. I'll sit over here. Good morning, and it's wonderful to be hosting this session with our speakers that gave us a perfect segue into the day. What a wonderful day in Dubai today to be talking about the possibilities. And when we talk about art, this is creative, this is unique, this is something that happens, every piece happens once only. So to be able to connect it to technology that is about repetition, it's about efficiency, it's about doing things over and again, can actually extend the possibilities in life overall. So who is an art expert in the room? Okay, would you know who is this painting by? Anyone? Rembrandt. Someone said Rembrandt. Yes, this is Rembrandt. So this is Rembrandt, the Dutch master, and this painting was done in 1658. This painting has significance because it's one of Rembrandt's most valuable. It was sold at Christie's in an auction in London for 20 million pounds. I know that there is someone in the room that can attest to that from Christie's. Yes. And also for the art experts, the art historians, who is this painting by? Okay. Thank you. Well, this is by a project called The Next Rembrandt. The experts that look at this painting will say that this is almost a Rembrandt painting. And Rembrandt, when this was done, was dead over 350 years ago. The brush strokes, the eyes, the shadows, the style, this is Rembrandt. Now, if you'd like to check the project, this is the QR code. Some people were fascinated about it, with it, and because it turned it into exactly the work of a Dutch master. This is a 3D project that replicated the brush strokes and the analysis, which was between a collaboration between computer scientists, computer engineers, and art historians, was able to create that. However, others thought the digital Rembrandt was a new way to mock art made by fools. Okay. Now, who would recognize this poetry? It has 19th century style. That tolerance of the sun shines into the sky. The pain of the world is forgotten. Very profound, right? Okay. This is done by a Google Arts and Culture project called Poem Portraits. You give it one word. The prompt is one word, and I gave it the word tolerance. This is the year of tolerance in the UAE, and it created a piece of poetry around the word tolerance. This is another project by a company supported by Elon Musk, and you give it a prompt as well, and it creates an entire story around it. So I gave it the prompt that it all started in Dubai on 4 November, which is today. It was a wonderful morning in the city of the future with innovators and scientists from around the world. And it actually created an entire story around it, including that there is a special, an Emirates language app was launched today. And the app came from the Ministry of Culture and Technology. So that's probably the minister's new title. And it continued to say that there is a local group of Arab-speaking society, a new non-profit group. It created something that is cohesive, that you can believe that it's real. And this is a language model. based on 40 gigabits of data, 8 million pages, and the way you read it, the way you look at it, many people will believe it's true. Now, while AI can actually trick people into believing it's true, now there is a tool where AI can spot text written by AI. So that is AI policing AI to detect fake news, fake poetry, fake art, and so on. And it's all algorithms. And this is the last slide. It's coming to music too. So there is a London-based startup that's promising to add one new album every month to your playlist based on your playlist. And just for reference, the human artist, the human musician, can actually do 1 or 2 albums maximum a year. Can I have audio, please, for the YouTube video? While there are some AI personalities now, Yona, Moni, Genesis, and others, and they sound like robots. However, when you listen to this piece online, you will see that art is able to replicate Beethoven, and it's able to create piano sonatas on its own. There are many other examples in poetry, architecture, fashion, and the list is endless, where AI now is helping create and generate unique art, unique pieces of art. And I thought to give us some ground before I start the conversation with Her Excellency Noura Kaabi, Minister of Culture and Knowledge Development in the UAE, and Alberto Levy, who just gave us a fascinating performance. Thank you very much. So, Your Excellency, many people, as we saw in the presentation, believe that art is a hype. It's only hype now. It's something that people are talking about. Some art houses are using it as stunts, PR stunts to attract attention, and they say this is going to fade away. As someone that is responsible for the art and culture policy in the UAE, as someone that brought so much dynamism to this space in the past few years, how much AI is on your mind in your day-to-day job?
Well, there are a few words that you were, repeating while you were showcasing the artwork and the music. I've noticed repetitive, replica, maybe mimicking, and I won't undermine how technology is being utilized. After Alberto's presentation, we see how technology is truly important to understand the way we feel at the moment, the way we immerse ourselves or engage with a certain kind of an art piece or music or our senses, or maybe the perfume that we will swallow in the future. So all of that is a part of how technology is truly important. Now, how much is AI in our minds? I believe it's the other way around. AI is already collecting. I was just talking to Khalfan Bilhol. Already we're sure that there are stories about us that are being now collected and will be published maybe one day. Is this scary? No. We know that we're oversharing information currently. We're maybe just filtering the way we feel. It's as if everything's beautiful and nice and good food, good art, traveling, whatsoever, good work day. And we're filtering the good moments when it comes to how visual it is. Now, AI is crucial in another element. How can I use AI to help me with collecting data, with understanding certain behaviors, with understanding what kind of footfall would help me engage more audience, what are the heat maps sometimes? Sometimes you go to a museum and they tell you, oh wow, that's the Rembrandt that was bought by X million dollars. I'm sure that there will be many audience or many kids who would be interested to, to witness such painting. You will end up having kids and people enjoying a corner, different lighting around it, and taking a selfie. You know, how much was that experience? I think it was peanuts comparing it to the Rembrandt that we just showed. So it's just the way we're going to utilize or to use AI to harness what we're going to have from an education process, from a behavioral process, from a collecting data process, from building, building a subject or building a plan for a certain building or a museum or for an artist, the journey of an artist from one place to another, and then the journey of audience from one place to another.
And I know that you've used art already in some cultural technology, in some cultural projects in the UAE, recreating.
Yes, so we're of course we're looking into how can technology be utilized in certain artwork. So let's say we have a Burda festival and a Burda award. It's basically started 14 years ago. It was purely calligraphy, and still is calligraphy, and some ornaments and poetry, classic poetry, nabati, fusha. So you have this kind of classic platform, statics, that you will present, talking 14 years ago. This month, we're having an exhibition of Alberto, but in a different way. So we have 10 endownees where they will produce an artwork that is inspired by Islamic art and culture. One of them is an Emirati artist called Ammar al-Attar, where he is working on an immersive kind of an experience to showcase the Emirati Malad. It's kind of how we celebrate the Prophet's birth by chanting beautiful poets towards the Prophet Muhammad. So it's more of how can I use art in a piece that is local, yet engaging, yet also having a layer of that festival once utilizing technology or immersive kind of experience. And another one, we will definitely go back next year with a competition that showcases the beautiful calligraphy work around the world.
Amazing, brilliant. So Alberto, art is a combination of skill and feelings, emotions, creativity, your reaction to contexts that are political, economic, societal. But the skill part usually sets people apart, sets artists apart. Now, when we look at AI being able to generate a Rembrandt, because it was able to look at all the Rembrandt body of work and then mimic his style. When you see that a story can be written, a novel can be written based on also millions of pages available online today and in books archived. The skill part takes human beings to accumulate many, many years. So the human artist needs to be working on their skill for decades before they're able to perfect it and before they become masters. However, AI, artificial intelligence, technology, becomes a master almost overnight in comparison. So the skill part is covered by the machine. What do you think the future is for creativity is for human beings?
I think, let me sidetrack a little bit and then I'll come back to this. When you go to a museum, you go and see a Rembrandt because it costs 20 or 200 million euros, or because of the emotion that it transmits to you? So it's very important, how do you see art? I think that's amazing that now we have the technology to find patterns, and machine learning, AI, will bring us, this possibility of understanding that might take time. But to replicate it I think is different, because those machines and systems, they cannot replicate emotions. I think that's very specific to human beings. I don't see in the near future, even in the long term, I can see now how to replicate the emotions. So the technique and skills are here, but we see even grandmasters, they would make also copies of the other grandmasters. It was part of the exercise of understanding the pattern. So we see Raphael, Rembrandt, we see all of them making replicas. There were two Giocondas. There was one in Paris, there's one in Madrid, from different artists, but it was a way of replicating with these amazing people getting those patterns. I think that's amazing that we have now the possibility through technology to speed that process. But I think the use comes back to the humans. How can we apply this technology, to understand things and then go one extra step? I think humans are going always to be one step further.
So it's similar to us being limited by our biology. So we use planes to fly, we use binoculars to see further, and you think technology is going to provide that depth for our creativity? It's going to do the technical part, the machine, while humans will be able to express their feelings in a different way.
Yes, machines are good with repetition, memorizing, and we even study this way what is wrong. We have to focus on the human part of being humans. The critical thinking, creativity. The machines cannot replicate that. If you want to do certain things 100,000 times, you cannot be better than a machine. But if you want to have the spark, the machine cannot be better than us.
So what you're saying is that you cannot learn to feel as a robot, to have feelings.
Yeah, I don't believe that robots can feel. They can emulate something that might resemble a feeling, but won't be ever a feeling, a true feeling.
Noura, I'll ask you about this. Similarly, the skill is covered, that part, and AI technology is universal. So it's gathering web pages, our entire Twitter sphere, our feelings, there's sentiment analysis. So they, in a sense, they can look at how a population is feeling, how a certain group of people is feeling. So they can extract context from that. But at the same time, creativity is exclusively human, at least as it seems, that responsiveness to the context and so on. Do you believe that art is going to continue to be part of a nation's identity, part of a certain era's identity and character? And how do you believe we can combine the two? So instead of having AI that is global, that is bringing, for example, the dominant Western culture or the rising Eastern culture, how can we have AI that has an Emirati identity, that has a regional identity?
Well, of course, I loved what Alberto mentioned when it comes to feelings and how provoking emotions is something that is. You can't have a robot that has emotions, or AI that will have all of those kind of let's say experience. While we don't see a robot, and so if Alberto was a robot today and he has the sensory in its head. So it's will that work? Of course, we will know that it's just kind of a programmed output. Identity is so crucial in a way, or a cultural identity is so crucial in a way that is, how are we working as a country to look at what is the Emirati identity? What is your cultural identity? How do you preserve it? Yet preserve it in a way that you understand that you also would like to work on promoting it. Promoting it is not as easy as 15 years ago or 20 years ago, where you will go to an exhibition and you're going to just see statics and kind of plaques and written all over it. This has started in thousands of years or whatever it is. This is the way we dress. This is the way we eat. It's going back also to how Alberto showed us what he did for the Emirates airline, experiences, how you immerse yourself with such an experience to understand the identity. to understand the hospitality, to understand how people greet each other, how we have intangible heritage right now that I would rather people experience it even if they're in Times Square. So a majlis, how would they get into a majlis? How would they have the protocol of a majlis? How will they, drink their coffee or turn back their coffee? Or the moment they would witness the smoke coming towards them, it's dukhun, it's not something that is, it's all of that kind of intangible experience that you definitely can work and make better. And make better when it comes to spreading that awareness and getting the most important element in my heart is getting kids to feel that they're connected, because kids would want to feel it and experience it through technology, through different devices and platforms that makes kids, wanting to learn differently from the way we were in schools. So my nephew is, he points on this. He's 1 year old, so he points on a screen from far away. He thinks he can move it. So I think, in the future, we would be able to do that. We would be able to do things better from a further perspective, how Alberto switched on and off his light at home, but it's also how our job is now repackaging the way we spread or we talk about our identity. It's a universal identity. It's unique in the way we dress, but there are values that are common between us. The words respect, the words kind, the word love, the word happiness, the word well-being. This is all values that connect us as human beings. But what differentiates us is something that we make even people would like to know more about you, more about the country than everything. So the image was in 1998, the one you were showcasing with people interacting in a nightclub. And if you just remove the year, you say, okay, they all dress in a way that is a trend right now. Even the sneakers is back right now. So I was looking at the sneakers and the Nikes. Oh, wow, it's back. This is a 1998 model. It's back. So that made me look at the Nikes kind of, trend coming back. But this is part of their also, it's a commercial brand. Yet it also has this identity that is different.
So it's art is going to whether it's artificial art, is going to reflect an identity that has strong features. So this is also part of what you do. You focus on heritage projects, and that's why you focus on preservation of heritage.
And one of the projects is also that we're working in the UAE is how we're rebuilding and helping our Iraqi counterparts rebuilding a Nouri mosque and its leaning minarat, which is damaged. So everything from the technical committee, what they're doing currently, is technology based, is the 3D kind of analysis, is looking at how will this base hold the minarat, will it be leaning, will it look different? So all of that is also being under progress with a team that are using technology to bring back a facade that's just a historical facade, bringing it back to life.
Alberto, a question, and I hope you have a brief answer for it. Authorship and rights in art. This is a big question. So today you created a unique piece of art. Who owns it? Is it the algorithm that created it? Is it Beit al-Oud that created the brain waves? Is it the device that captured the brain waves on the screen? Or is it you? And that applies actually to everything. I mean, in the past they used to say, is the camera the artist? And the camera isn't the artist, it's just a mechanism. But here, there's actually collaboration to create this uniqueness of this piece between several parties. What do you think is the future of rights and authorship in arts?
It comes to my mind a question. Do we have to own it? We don't have to answer. Art is here to ask questions. So do we have to own it? What is the ownership? There is an algorithm, there is a code that came out of this algorithm that I wrote, but without the musicians, without the crowd, without the moment, without that special sense of Dubai, of endless possibilities, it generated together this piece. It went through a person as a channel to bring to life this piece. So more than an answer who owns it is, why do we have to own it? Why not generate and see what emotion is generating also on people? And to go specific to this, we can, most of us, even if you don't know, we can write a code that can make a Rembrandt. I mean, we can take a picture of a Rembrandt and then we have a replica of the Rembrandt. You know,
That's easier.
That's easier, and it's in a way. And then, but why not make something special that's related to a moment? And this we put in the blockchain just to to use more technology and to make it unique. But
we will then have to think of new business models for art, because if there is no ownership, then you cannot promote it or sell it or capture the value that it's creating.
Absolutely. And then, what is the value? It's because a piece of this could be worth 100,000 euros, and then the value came out of this, or came out of this moment that is absolutely priceless, and it's not about this, it's about the uniqueness.
So I'll ask one question, and I need, let's say, 1 word or 2 words answer for each of Noura and Alberto. AI technology is going to enable us to resurrect some artists and personalize them. So you can say, learn this artist's style, music, lyrics, and then create something that is for me today. If you'd like to resurrect an artist, whether a singer, a painter, Noura, who would you like to resurrect and bring back to life through technology?
Bring back to life. I'll say Kulthum.
Okay, Kulthum. And Alberto?
That's a tough one. I was not expecting this. Oh.
But AI won't be able to ever replicate or make Kulthum's experience, although I never experienced it the way.
But there was a hologram of Kulthum last year.
I went to Saudi. I'm sorry, Alberto, it's your words. I went to the hologram. The only element that I enjoyed during that concert was one of the players on stage is Kulthum's, from the original band of Kulthum. So that was for me the connection that made me feel enjoyable. That's me.
Alberto.
Now, I'll think Da Vinci, and just because as humans, some think that we have a limited lifespan. And I wanted to resurrect him, to extrapolate what he was doing, to see the progression. Not, to get back and then, continuing his work. So, like to bring his chain of thoughts again, to see, wow, where was he's going in so many different ways.
Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and thank you to Noura and Alberto.
Thank you.